10. Amanda Nunes. 30-year-old Amanda Nunes and her husband were at a food stand in the Brazilian city of Belford Roxo in 2020 when she overheard a man and a woman making fun of her body and calling her overweight. She confronted the couple and things escalated quickly. Reports claim that the man, a prison guard who was off duty at the time, slapped Amanda in the face before pulling out a gun and shooting her point blank. She was rushed to the hospital where she underwent emergency surgery and was put on a breathing tube. But it was too late to save Amanda's life, and she died from her injuries. Authorities reassured the public that they were doing their due diligence to identify and arrest the woman's killer. The suspect turned himself in shortly thereafter and was charged with murder, but was soon released by police. He even remained on duty at his job and was allowed to keep his gun while the case went to trial. In a strange twist to an already unusual case, local newspaper Noticias de Belford Roxo reported that Amanda's family members described her widowed husband as indifferent about her murder and claimed that he gave conflicting stories about what has happened. It is unclear how the case played out or if it's ongoing. 9. MCSTAY. Early last year, a 29-year-old mother named Shadina Smith accused 19-year-old MCSTAY of groping her in the lobby of her New York City apartment building. They began to argue, and Smith went to get her fiancé for help. That's when Stacey allegedly opened fire on the couple, firing 3 bullets into Smith's chest. She died at the hospital shortly after arriving, and her partner was wounded but survived. The suspect didn't live in the building, according to police, and it was unclear why he was even there in the first place. Stacey fled the scene and went on the run, sparking concerns among law enforcement that he may have gone to West Africa, where he reportedly has strong political and family connections. He managed to evade law enforcement for 10 months before police found him sleeping in a stolen SUV. Stacey faces weapons-related charges, along with murder and attempted murder. 8. Deadly property retrieval. After having their car broken into last year, a Seattle couple drove to a nearby homeless encampment with their 2-week-old baby in the back seat to search for their missing property. It wasn't the best idea. The small family would soon learn. The man retrieved a pair of shoes and a Bluetooth speaker, but before they could leave, they found themselves face to face with an angry crowd of people who live at the encampment. The disgruntled group brutally attacked the man with sticks, rocks, a machete, and anything else they could get their hands on, while his partner got into a fistfight with a woman who came charging at her. Realizing the level of danger they were in, the couple scrambled to get back into their car. Footage of the incident shows the homeless people blocking the vehicle from leaving and beating the car with their weapons. They smashed windows and caused extensive damage to the vehicle. After circling the lot twice without being able to break through the crowd safely, the driver stepped on the gas in an attempt to finally exit the lot. The vehicle hit and killed a 21-year-old homeless man, but police decided against charging the couple, who were in clear danger. Authorities charged 53-year-old Mario J. Miller, who's a 12-time felon, and 39-year-old John Henry Rosser IV, who is a 9-time felon, with second-degree assault in connection with the attack. 7. Stacy and Robert Feldman. On March 1, 2015, Denver police received a call from Robert Feldman, who claimed that he arrived home to find his wife, Stacy, unresponsive in the bathtub with the water still running. He told officers that he believed she died from eating too many marijuana edibles. But there were no signs of THC in Stacy's system, and her manner and cause of death were initially ruled as undetermined. A few months after she died, detectives learned that she had suspected Robert of having an affair. Right before she was found dead, Stacy had received an email from a woman who had met Robert on Tinder. They went on a few dates and were intimate at least once, but the woman suspected that he was lying about being divorced. She did some research and found out that her instincts were correct. Robert's mistress contacted Stacy to let her know about the affair and to let her know that her husband was pretending to be single. Stacy reportedly replied, stating that Robert had cheated before and that she was done with the marriage for good this time. An arrest affidavit revealed that Robert had tried to stop an autopsy from happening and was uncooperative with authorities at the scene. Authorities summoned the help of a leading expert in domestic violence injuries in 2017. He re-examined the case and reclassified Stacy's death as a homicide after finding that she was brutally beaten and strangled. Investigators theorized that Robert killed his wife in a fit of rage when she confronted him about the alleged affair. He is currently serving a life sentence for her murder. 6. LEDARRION Smith. 32-year-old LEDARRION Smith and his ex-girlfriend had been broken up for more than 9 months when he went to her home in Memphis, Tennessee late one night and allegedly threw a hammer through her front door. The victim told police that Smith was banging on her doors and windows and yelling from outside as she stood at the door, looking at him through the glass. She refused to let the man in and said he flew into a rage, accusing her of cheating on him with a white man. The hammer shattered the glass and hit the woman, leaving her with a broken forearm. But Smith's campaign of terror was far from over, according to a police report which describes how he shattered a window, crawled inside, and began hitting, choking, and pulling his ex's hair. He went on to destroy numerous things throughout the home, including a TV, some wooden doors, and some mirrors. According to an affidavit, Smith was there to retrieve his belongings. He reportedly said that he paid for everything inside the home and that he therefore had a right to destroy it. But law enforcement disagreed and charged Smith with vandalism and aggravated assault. The victim told officers that she got what she had coming, suggesting that she knew ahead of time that Smith was dangerous and was more or less waiting for something like this to happen. 5. Terry and CHAUNA Thompson. One night in May 2017, Terry Thompson pulled into a Denny's restaurant in the greater Houston area with his kids in the car and saw a man urinating in the parking lot. He confronted 24-year-old John Hernandez and a fight broke out. Thompson's wife, CHAUNA, who was a Harris County Sheriff's deputy at the time, soon arrived at the scene. Terry held the man in a headlock even after he had stopped resisting, only releasing Hernandez after he fell unconscious. Meanwhile, a bystander captured footage of the encounter despite other witnesses telling the person that it was illegal to film the altercation, which isn't true. Hernandez died 3 days later from his injury. Police charged Terry with murder, and CHAUNA was fired from her job as a deputy. Several months later, she was also charged with murder for failing to intervene. Thompson's first trial ended in a hung jury. He was found guilty at his second trial in 2018 and received a 25-year prison sentence. The charges against CHAUNA, who now goes by the last name Sheffield, were dropped due to lack of evidence. But the deadly encounter continues to follow her around. In 2020, residents at a Houston area subdivision found out that she was working as one of their security guards and immediately bombarded their homeowners association with complaints demanding CHAUNA's firing. She had also been briefly hired as a police officer in the city of Somerville, but was let go amid widespread backlash from locals about her past. 4. Fatal intrusion. A husband and wife from Red Deer County in Alberta, Canada, were on vacation last summer when their teenage children called them and said that a man had repeatedly tried to break into their home. The kids called the police, who came to the property and told the man to stay away. This had apparently been an ongoing problem with the intruder, who reportedly used to either live at the home or worked for the previous owner. After the couple returned from their trip, they took their children on a family outing, only to arrive home and find some window screens had been ripped off and their ATV had been moved. Because the windows still appeared to be locked, they didn't think anyone was inside. Deciding that it was better to be safe than sorry, the husband instructed his wife and kids to wait inside their motorhome while he grabbed his shotgun and went inside to investigate. He found the repeat trespasser laying in his bed and immediately began shouting at him to get down on the floor. The two got into a tussle, and as the homeowner tried to get out of the house, the intruder began hitting him with a baseball bat. He fatally shot the man. Speaking with CTV, the homeowner said he was disappointed that the confrontation ended in death. He said he wouldn't wish his position on anybody, and that he was having an especially hard time knowing that the man he killed left behind a daughter. In hindsight, he said that if he knew anyone was inside the home, he would have waited outside and left the situation in the hands of law enforcement. Because the shooting was in self-defense, the homeowner was not charged with any crimes. 3. Bradley McStay. When 34-year-old Bradley McStay's girlfriend broke up with him in early 2020, he simply couldn't accept it. Things got even worse when he found out she was seeing someone new. McStay repeatedly tried contacting the woman despite her making it abundantly clear that their relationship was over. She was with her new boyfriend, Luke Price, when she received a message from McStay saying that he was going to visit her. The couple left the property in eastern Victoria, Australia, where they were spending time together, and attempted to evade McStay. But he followed them in his car in an erratic high-speed chase that lasted for several miles. When the pursuit finally slowed down, Price pulled his car over and got out. McStay drove by and clipped Price, unknowingly dragging him along the ground for 190 feet before fatally running the victim over. It was only then that McStay realized he had caused more damage than he had perhaps intended during his fit of jealousy. He pleaded guilty to culpable driving causing death and received a 6-year prison sentence. It may seem like a mild punishment for someone who took another person's life, but the judge believed that McSally truly did not mean to kill Price, and that his chances of re-entering society as a functioning person are high. 2. Jamie Jaramillo. Late last year, Sergeant Richard Houston responded to a call about a domestic disturbance outside a grocery store in Mesquite, Texas, where a jealous wife was confronting her cheating husband. Juventina Vasquez Binces had been accusing Jamie Jaramillo of being unfaithful for months when she and her daughter came face to face with the man and his mistress, according to court documents. The mistress called 911, and for reasons that remain unknown, Jaramillo shot Sergeant Houston dead just moments after he arrived at the chaotic scene. He then shot himself in the head. When Jaramillo collapsed to the ground, Vasquez Binces allegedly grabbed his gun and charged after his mistress. She blocked the woman from leaving the scene while banging the gun against her car window and threatening her. Police charged Vasquez Binces with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Jaramillo is surviving his self-inflicted gunshot wound and is being held on a $2 million bond for capital murder. While it's unclear whether the prosecutor will pursue the death penalty, the only other sentence Jaramillo might face in the event of a conviction is life in prison. 1. CLERK confronts gas thieves. For months now, a Houston area Texaco station has been the target of repeated diesel thefts. Every time, the thieves took exactly 389 gallons of fuel, costing business owner Tree Trong an estimated $20,000 in losses. In late May, just days after the most recent theft, the same gold van that had been captured on previous surveillance footage pulled into the lot and began siphoning diesel from an underground storage tank. The driver went into the store to distract the cashier while his co-conspirators pumped away. But the keen-eyed clerk saw what was happening on the surveillance camera. She grabbed a stick from inside the store, went into the parking lot, and began beating the suspect's van with it. The driver who had entered the store fled on foot, and someone else drove the van away. Gas and diesel theft are on the rise due to skyrocketing fuel prices, according to experts who say that thieves typically pump the fuel into containers through a trap door in the floor of their vehicle. It's a discreet strategy that enables them to steal in broad daylight, and often multiple times, before attracting suspicion. Trong shared the surveillance footage with local news station ABC 13 in hopes that viewers can help identify the suspects and bring them to justice. Thanks for watching. Would you rather be approached by a jealous ex while out on a date with someone new, or catch your elderly neighbor's grandchild stealing from them, leaving you in the awkward position of having to tell the family? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe.